Hello there gang, Devere here, just playing a little bit of a story about my uncle. So let's have a quick look at what we get in the way of options. Get a few basic audio options. Some video settings. Nothing too in-depth. But it's decent enough. We have rebindable keys, which is always good, as well as controller support, but I am playing this with mouse and keyboard, so I don't know how well it controls because it's first person. So obviously it's best with mouse and keyboard for that. So let's see, let's start a new game.
Dad?
Aren't you sleeping yet? It's time for bed, honey.
Dad, I can't sleep. Can you tell me a bedtime story?
All right. What do you want to hear?
Something about an adventure.
I think I know just the thing. When I was your age, my biggest dream was to follow my Uncle Fred on one of his adventures around the world. One day, he disappeared. I stepped into the lobby.
This is just the introduction.
It lay just across the hill from where I lived with my mother, your grandmother. She had tried to keep me from going, but I wanted to see if Fred was home yet from his latest adventure. My uncle used to send me postcards from his long journeys. Greetings from Nepal, Galapagos, Kilimanjaro. I had visited Uncle Fred's house countless of times, but in the locker, which usually was closed, I found something I hadn't seen before. It was an adventure suit. It resembled the one that Fred used, but smaller in size. Curiosity got the better of me, and I tried it on. It fit like it had been custom made for me. The most mysterious room of my uncle's house was the observatory. There he kept his newest experiments, and right now it held a pad used for disposing of garbage. I landed with a crash, but thanks to the suit I wasn't hurt. I had no idea where the pad had taken me, but back then I didn't care so much about where I was going or how I would get home. The suit protected me from falls on the ground, but not in water. I couldn't swim with this thing on. Best be careful.
So yes, it's a storytelling first person platformer. A certain level of charm.
I was sure that someone had been here before me. Someone had built these bridges and carved these symbols, but who? Where were they now?
So it's a bit of a strange one, really. Oops, better charge that first. Oh, completely missed my timing there. So the visuals and the audio are certainly quite impressive. There's a sort of kind of relaxing vibe until, of course, you start screwing up a lot of jumps in quick order, which because it becomes incredibly frustrating. It's although the checkpoints are fairly well balanced. Oops, see, that was my fault. I accidentally hit jump instead of a bit odd. I know. I'm going to be going that way, don't I? Yes, it's a bit of a strange mixture. Because it does have the problem of first-person platforming.
How did you know Fred had been there?
Well, I found a small campsite where Fred must have slept before going further into the caves. I knew it was him because the place was littered with empty packages of his favorite hiking foods. Canned soups, tube food, and instant noodles.
Tube food? That sounds gross.
Oh well, it's not that bad. One winter, Uncle Fred and I went hiking into the mountains, and we were surprised by a blizzard. We were stuck in a small cabin for 2 days, and all we ate was tube food, and cold canned goulash as well. Your grandmother was worried sick, but I thought it was all very exciting.
Yes, being first person with no legs can sometimes be a little bit disorientating for when you're going for a very precise jump. They're generally fairly forgiving in this game.
The power core I found activated the suit's grappling device when I picked it up. It must have been left here by my uncle.
And of course, as the game progresses, the jumps and challenges do become a little bit more harder. Combining your different power jumps and
symbol everywhere I grappled. I noticed similar symbols already there in the cave, and I was getting more and more certain that this place was where Fred had gone.
yeah, that was just on. So yeah, it has a strange zen-like. That was a bit bad timing. Will I make it? Oh yeah. Yeah, strangely frustrating at one moment and quite relaxing and zen-like at others.
The adventure suit was fantastic. By combining a power leap with a grapple, I could fly long distances through the air at great speed.
So if I'd have been slightly off, I'd have launched off over the sides there. So all in all, it's an interesting little number. And story-wise is decent. It's not quite the mega epic a lot of people seem to make out. See that there? I mistimed that one. Because if you jump instead of power jump or whatever, you kind of screw yourself up a tad. Oh, and there I jumped without sprinting. It's weird having an extra 2 controls to take care of. So that was just poor controls on my part. That was not the game. So I think we should get around to collecting our dealings shortly, gang, because this is kind of what the game is. I mean, it's decent. So there, sometimes you can quite sort of shortcut it if you want to. That's it. I was going to overshoot it again then. Generally, it's not too complicated. It does get a little bit more tricky later on in the game. So we're saying it's a certain Zen-like experience. It sort of has a sort of relaxing side to it. And the frustrations of platforming attached to it. It's a... Oh, have I... Oh, just... Yeah, but if it's... It's definitely something that's a little bit different from your normal. Alright, I'm going to assume we want to power jump to that one. Maybe it's straight down to there. Time to experiment. And up over to that one. Which way are we going? You do get a few minor upgrades to your suit thing as you go. The ability to chain your jumps and things like that. But yeah, I don't think it's quite the epic story a lot of people make out, but it's decent enough. Let's see, the voice acting itself is also decent. So now we can do multi-grapples. Basically two in quick succession. So once it's really kind of getting the hang of which jump you need to use at a time is really more the issue. Oh, I didn't release in time. Whee! That's going to be tight. Ah, there we go. Easy life. But it does get a little bit more challenging later on. But it is, I think, the story is more what they're trying to tell rather than a hardcore platforming experience. I won't give Super Meat Boy a run for its money or anything along those lines. And as you see, it's fairly forgiving. There's no lives. You can die as many times as you like. It's not overly punishing or anything like that. Probably messed up there. I should have gone for that other moving boulder. I can only chain 2 jumps at the moment. Should have looked before I leapt, quite literally. Keep an eye on that one there. That's better, that's better. So yeah, if you're after a sort of story-driven platformer in first person, there aren't many of these games around. That's for sure. Let's see which way we're going to go. That one I'm going to guess. First. That one up to there. Ooh, yeah. So we'll conclude our dealings about now game, because this is nearly the end of the first level, just because obviously it's quite easier because it's your introductory level. Whereas things get a little bit more taxing as you go through the game, and of course as the story develops. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience. It's only a downside. It's only really a couple of hours long, maybe 2.5 if you go around looking for those little collectible things, those little computer things and things like that, and other bits of the story that are slightly set off the main track. But yeah, all in all, it's definitely one of those games that's certainly, probably because of the short time, maybe a sale item would be best. But I'm one of these games that, yeah, if they did a second part, yeah, I'd probably stick my nose in, because of course normally first person platforming can be a very frustrating experiences because you don't really have much of an idea of distance where you are to where it is. It's very hard to get a proper feeling of depth, which is usually why third person or something are better for platforming, or 2D of course. But all in all, they've done a pretty good job on this. It's certainly not what you'd call frantic, although a few bits are slightly challenging, but it's quite a good introduction to the genre, even if it's a very empty genre. So anyway, gang, thanks for taking the time to watch the video. I hope you found it useful and entertaining in some way. And as ever, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to let me know you're alive, and I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.